Christian nightclubs seem to be gaining more and more traction in the Christian space every single month that an event is happening. Now, the question everyone's asking is, should Christians be attending these events? Are these biblical? Or is something much darker and sinister happening at these Christian nightclubs that people should avoid going to completely? Now, in today's video, we're going to get into those questions. But before we do need to kind of break down the difference between a Christian nightclub and a nightclub. Now, if you don't know what these are or where they started, the Christian nightclub started in South Florida, again, led by Bryce G and his wife. And they've been going on each month. There's an event every single month. Now, initially, when people heard Christian nightclub, their thought immediately went to the nightclub. You know, we think of nightclubs, a lot of us think of nightclubs as a lot of secular, inappropriate music is being played. You have drugs, alcohol, inappropriate dancing, inappropriate clothing. You've got sexual tension coming through the dance floor with people. There's a lot of sinful things that happen at nightclubs that are not God glorifying. Nightclubs don't point us to Jesus. They point us to the world and what Satan has to offer. And so initially people were really kind of thrown off by this, putting their red flags up, saying we should not attend these things. He did clear the air on a few things that I ended up taking some notes. You can expect no alcohol. You can expect no secular music being played at all. The only music that's being played is Christian rap and gospel-centered music. All of the music that is played, Bryce G says, points people directly to Jesus. He also said that there's armed security at these events, as well as all ages are welcomed at this event. So you can bring, parents can bring their kids with them. You can bring your grandmother with you or your grandfather with you. Doesn't matter the age, everybody's kind of welcomed into this space. And then you're going to see people dancing and singing. And depending on the venue that they're at, if there's a place for people to just kind of lounge and hang out and sit down and chat, they have that as well. So it seems different, a lot different than our stereotypical, what we think of as a nightclub. It almost seems similar to kind of like a youth camp, a youth event that's going on, just no sermon being preached. Now, the goal, I wrote down what his goals were. The goal for Christian nightclubs is simple: point people to Jesus, help up and coming Christian artists get noticed, have a place for Christians to hang out and worship. Now, with this, guys, Bryce did make it very clear that this is not a replacement for church. This is not a replacement for getting plugged into your local body. This is just another place where Christians can gather freely and joyfully and worship the Lord together in communion. Now, Bryce did make it clear that there are people walking around the entire venue, watching over things, making sure nothing's getting out of hand, making sure nobody's doing anything inappropriate. They're watching over, they're doing their best to avoid any type of dark, sinister thing. I do want to give us a Bible verse with this, because this one's tricky. Should Christians go to this Christian nightclub or should they not? The initial, for me personally, I wouldn't go to this. Now, this doesn't mean that I don't think people should go to it. I think if you're in South Florida and you're a Christian and you love Jesus, hey, go check it out. See what it's all about. See if this is something for you. If it gets you away from having this desire to go to an actual nightclub, hey, find yourself at this Christian nightclub, because at least what they're doing there isn't sinful. And with that, guys, there's a verse I wanted to read. It's in Jeremiah chapter 17, and it starts in verse 10, where it says, "I, the Lord, search the heart. I test the mind." And so with that, guys, we have to just kind of trust that the Lord is the one who's testing the hearts of man. the Lord's testing the heart of Bryce G and his wife to see, do they have the right intentions? And from the interview, it sounds like Bryce and his wife do have really good intentions with this Christian nightclub. And we can be praying for them. We can be praying for this Christian nightclub experience and everything, praying that God be getting the glory from this. Bryce G has a goal, and that's to point people to Jesus. That's to help up and coming Christian artists who maybe are having a hard time getting their foot in the door. He's got a work that he's doing, and for this year, he said he wants to focus solely on just working in South Florida, and then next year he actually wants to teach people in other cities how to host these types of events, and so it can grow into other things. But we just need to be praying that these events would stay Christ-centered and Christ-focused. But if you have issues with these events, hey, that's totally fine. You do not have to attend these things. That is your own personal conviction.